Hello, tea family. How are you this evening? I hope you have had a wonderful week as we are very quickly approaching the middle of October. That's right. Wednesday is the middle of October. I already have people telling me what I need to do, how many weeks it is till Christmas, how much shopping I have to do. It's kind of funny. That's a little early. It's October. I haven't really thought about it, but actually, I have. So, I want to say hello back to me. Let me know in either the chat or comments, depending on how you're joining us, what you are drinking tonight. We have something really historical to chat about today. Obviously, we are going to be talking about Earl's Blend. My handy dandy assistant is actually behind me right now, and he's drinking Ancient Green Dragon today. I know he's drinking that up still. We had that at an event yesterday. So let me know what you're drinking. Say hello so that I know you're there. And Kim's here and she's drinking Sunlit Orchard. Awesome. Diane's here. Diane's having Aloha Breeze. There you go. Awesome. Well, I am going to be drinking a Earl's Blend, but not a pure Earl's Blend tonight. We're going to be diving into it. You know, Earl's Blend is one of the most elegant and mysterious tea blends that there really have ever been created, in my opinion. It is a rich black tea. Here, let me. I have some stuff that we're going to be doing tonight, so it's a little crazy around here. But there is our Earl's Blend. You can't smell it, which is the real main focus, but it is a blend of black tea with bergamot oil typically, and the story behind it, very interesting to me. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And one of the things, as I start to reach in underneath, I have already brewed a cup earlier today. I needed to stay awake today, so I already had to steal a lot of the caffeine out of it. But if my handy dandy assistant would be willing to please go get, and I'll show you, it's just, there's our Earl's Blend, and that's it. Black teas from India and China. There's my dishwasher going off. We have clean dishes. Everybody should be happy. And all right. All right. If you will go ahead and then pour that. And I'm going to say when, and then I need you to actually just put it right here, please. I know that's crazy. 3 minutes on the clock would be great because it's a black tea. So 4 minutes on the clock because we've already brewed it once. This is our second brew, so 4 minutes on the clock. And the third time I brew this, we'll go ahead and do 5. So I know Kim's liking your choice of teas there, Diane. I love it. I knew when it came up, Kim was going to get really excited about that one. So we're going to talk about some what I think are really fun and unusual facts about this tea. And then we are going to make a London Fog Latte right here. That is the kind of latte that is extraordinarily popular. It is one of the most highly ordered tea lattes that there are, and you can make it in your own home for much, 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 much less. And so we are going to talk about that. So Betsy was confused because she doesn't have anything in the washer, and that's what she thought she heard. Sorry, Betsy, it wasn't your washer, it was my dishwasher. I apologize. You know, we're always like, oh, quick, let's get a load of dishes in, because otherwise I think they multiply. I think when I go to bed at night, there's one dish in the sink, and then when I wake up, there's like 200 dishes in the sink. I don't know, something happens in the middle of the night, and Rich must just come in and sleep cook or anything and then eat all the food. I don't know what happens, but so we're always running the dishwasher. Not your washer this time. I love it though. So we're going to get started on that. The London Fog Lattes, you know, they are one of the most popular. They are the most popular, but they're also fun to make. Not only can you save money by doing it at home, but you can definitely enjoy it and then customize it a little bit. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. So showed you what our teas look like. So while I am waiting, Yep, dishes do that. Diane agrees. That's exactly what dishes do. I thought so. You know, there's days that we come home and I swear we did all the dishes before we left, and then boom, more dishes. So, fun facts about Earl's blend. That's what we call it, but traditionally most people call it Earl Grey. Now, there is depends on which continent you live, whether gray is spelled Grey or Gray. What is your preference? Put that in the chat and comments. I'm always interested. I've literally read it so many both ways because I read a lot of stuff from Europe and I read a lot of stuff from the US. And there are moments in my day where I forget how to spell the color gray in US speak because I'm like, wait, is it E or A? No, USA. Okay, it's the A. You know, and it's funny. Yes, he sleep cooks while hooked up to the CPAP, Betsy. That's exactly what he does. But it's one of the that is what see Diane, you do the E as well. Maybe because most people think of it as a British blend, but you know, what are you gonna say? It is a British blend, but London Fog Lattes out of Canada. We've talked about that one before. So the Earl of Grey Earl Grey was originally not a tea. Kim spelled it both ways too. Thank you, Kim. I feel so much better though. I think it's once you read beyond a certain thing, you kind of like you forget like European source. So the other one I see a lot, but I know how to do it for proper spelling in the US is labor because they use a U in Great Britain and they don't in the US. So it's one of those things. All right. Apparently, my handy dandy assistant had to sleep make the French hill pie. That means he must have had a whole entire pie by himself, but that's another story. Okay, so Charles Grey was the second Earl of Grey. There's my 3 minutes on the clock. He was actually a British prime minister in the 1830s. And this tea was supposedly created to suit the taste of his water, which had a really strong kind of lime flavor to it. So he used bergamot oil in with his black tea blend in order to really kind of counteract that lime taste to his water. Now, I will say that bergamot is not an herb. It is a citrus fruit. So if you are allergic to citrus, you do not want to consume any kind of Earl's blend or Earl's Grey. I have a dear friend that is allergic, and it's one of the ones she's not allowed to test or try, even sometimes when she wants to. But fun fact, bergamot is mostly grown in Italy. It's much more popular there. And less than 1% of all the citrus fruit in the world is bergamot. So it is not a very well-known citrus fruit, but it is one. It's kind of like a cross, how should I put this? Between like a bitter orange and a lemon. So somewhere in between an orange that's bitter and a lemon. Kind of the sweeter side of lemon. That's about where you're going to get those flavors of bergamot. But that's what really gives Earl's blend or an Earl Grey this really unique aroma. Bright, kind of floral, hint of citrus, all at once. That's how you get that from that citrus fruit. Early versions of Earl's Grey tea. I'm going to start to get some stuff ready here as we speak. Early versions of Earl's Grey, they didn't use black tea at all, actually. They just used some green tea, or they used an oolong. So the halfway between that green tea and that black tea is where we have our oolongs. And some used neroli, Neroli, for those of you that want to correct my pronunciation. I looked it up, found a couple of different spellings, pronunciations. Neroli was how most of them said to pronounce that word, but instead of bergamot. So like really, this is one that you know, we think it's very traditional, but actually it's not, because you could do it with a green tea, you could do it with an oolong tea, you could do it with a neroli oil, or you could do it with bergamot. And so there are a lot of different variations there, but they all come out. Now, for those of you who are perfume lovers, bergamot oil is absolutely one of the top notes in many luxury perfume blends. In fact, I'm pretty confident Betsy might not be so much, just because she's younger, but for those of us who are over the age of, say, 27 or 28, Chanel number 5, one of the top parts of that perfume blend is actually bergamot oil. So FYI, very well known with luxury and different things like that. So when you taste it, like Earl's blend, you're going to notice that the citrus notes tend to linger because of the bergamot. A lot of people don't necessarily have a super well-defined palate, in that they can't always tell the difference between some floral notes and bergamot being the citrus, because it is very unique. But what's your opinion? When you try Earl's blend or an Earl Grey, do you think of it as more of a floral or fruity, or do you taste more of the black tea? Let me know kind of what you do. And so we are going to switch really quickly, and you're going to see all the magic behind the scenes, right? Because we're going to switch to latte making, and I'm going to definitely try to do this a different way than I had originally planned, because I had failure of a tripod earlier today, and so we are desperately we will fix that for next week, but it does leave us a couple of issues right here. All right, so what you see behind the scenes, my handy dandy assistant does not taste any of those flavors apparently, but that's okay. All right, so we are actually going to get started, and the first thing you're going to see is not going to be, and I'm actually going to go like this. So everybody should see this mug. So I have to remember everything is backwards. So up is down, and it's not even a real, let's see. There. Whew. I had to figure out where it is. So then you see my tablecloth, and you see the tea, and now we are actually going to start to get ready. So I'm going to push my tea to the side, or I will push it up. And one of the things that I'm going to do is, when making the latte, I actually like to start, and again, we're going to use some Rummy Bees infused honey. I actually like to start with my syrup. A lot of times for a latte, people will add a syrup to it. I typically like to add a honey. Now you could add a vanilla honey, or a vanilla simple syrup, a vanilla honey simple syrup. You could add a lavender honey simple syrup. You could even do an orange or a lemon one. But you can also do, which ones, a cinnamon would work in here, or just plain honey. So I am going to see, and you see all I have here is about not even a teaspoon, not very much at all, but that's because I don't like it super sweet. Okay, I probably have maybe half a teaspoon in there. Now, one of the reasons why I like to start with this infused honey, and today I'm just going to use vanilla. But this is one of those things, if you love the lavender notes of a London Fog, this is definitely one where you could do that quite easily. And you could very much add in the lavender infused honey in here. It's going to add some more lavender notes to it. Now, I am going to use just a little bit. It's typically equal parts honey, or the sugar and water. And we're just going to stir this around a little bit. Now I do like to add this in. I did let that cool a little bit, and the reason why I wanted that to cool was because I wanted to make sure that we were not going to kill all the wonderful beneficial things in our honey. Over 140 degrees, we're going to kill any beneficial properties of your honey. We want it to be below that, so I let it cool off, but it's still warm enough for me to melt into the water. Now, typically, I will go ahead and, yep, made the mess. I will go ahead and just kind of add that in right here. I like to add my sweetness. That way, if there's any honey that I have not turned into a honey simple syrup in there, the warmth of the water or warmth of the tea is going to take care of that. Now, it wouldn't be a latte without our milk portion. And so I've got some milk right here that we're going to pour. And what you're going to want to take is about a cup of Earl's blend. A lot of times people will brew it stronger. So instead of 1 teaspoon to 6 to 8 ounces, they'll do like a teaspoon and a half to 2 teaspoons, depending on how officially strong you want to make it. All right, so we're going to push that out of the way. And then your milk, you can warm that up. Again, you're going to want to kind of stay under that 140 degree mark. 120 is typically really a good one. This is just a frother. It is a battery rechargeable one. So you're going to hear a little noise. And now we're going to froth our milk. Well, we were going to froth it, but all right. Shame on the handy dandy assistant. This was not in there all the way. There we go. He tries to get the stuff ready for me, and then I think he was cleaning it and making sure everything was ready. So we're just going to froth it, and that's it. This can be frothed cold. This could be frothed warm. You can use any kind of milk if you want to use an almond milk or soy milk or regular milk or full cream or half and half, just like with any of our other lattes. Now there is something else we are going to do before we combine the two, but I want to get them in there. And now we just have to wait. Sorry, everybody. So again, recipe, 1 cup Earl's blend, brewed strong, about a half cup of warm milk or non-dairy milk, about as much of a honey simple syrup as you would like for your sweetness, depending on how sweet you like it. And then the other thing that we're going to be doing is we are going to be adding in vanilla. Now what you see is the crystal jar, because I'm going to use some really top-notch one. I'm going to use it out of my mother jar. A mother jar is just vanilla beans that have continued to extract. You've made extract out of them. There's beans left over. You can still extract more. So I take whatever's left over after we make our vanilla extract and bottle it up. And I take any little leftover vanilla extract in the beans and I put them in a really pretty fancy jar like this. There we are. And just let them sit. This one is, these beans and this extract is probably 4 or 5 years old. And so, yeah, quite a while in there. It's going to be nice and aged. My frother is definitely not at full power, because it's taking a little bit longer than it normally would. For the latte. All right. I don't want to wait all night doing that. All right. So one more thing we're going to do is I'm going to move this to the side for a second. I'm going to move this here. And about a teaspoon or half a teaspoon of the vanilla extract. So I'm just going to eyeball that. Maybe it was a little extra. But it was less than a teaspoon. So now I'm going to stir all those things together. And then again, we can do the pour method, I'm going to go ahead and do the pour method and kind of stir mine this time. Sometimes you'll see me do when I just kind of drop it in like that, but I'm going to actually pour. And it's just going to look like a milk tea at this point because that's what I would like. Now you have the choice here. Depending on what you like, you can do some lavender. Again, it's very popular for London fog teas. But the other thing that you can do is something I like. I like a little bit of cinnamon on top. And this is where if you are really good with latte art, if you even know what that is, you are all set. Now let me switch off our handy dandy second. I'm going to remove this and we're back. Okay. And now I can kind of put this to the side. And this is what our latte looks like. I've mixed it all together. I wanted to do that. Like I said, I wanted cinnamon as opposed to lavender, but you could kind of put what up. But this, man, this would cost you quite a few dollars out of your pocketbook. But you saw a milk, vanilla, the honey. If you want it, you could just do a regular simple syrup. You don't have to sweeten it at all if you don't want it sweet. And it doesn't take very long. This is not very expensive. I think we've spent $10 on it. It's super easy. It just takes a couple of minutes. And sometimes I get it. Sometimes that 5 minutes to make it, it's not worth it because 5 minutes you really don't have, or that's 5 minutes that you really could read that book or sleep or, do something else in the morning. So I do understand, but I'm going to say cheers for a second. That just tastes so good. See, I'm getting hints of the cinnamon and I'm getting hints of the citrus and the black tea. Thankfully, it's just a really nice milky, creamy combination. And I really wanted it kind of more of, once it mixes, it's more like a milk tea, but it's a great flavor. A lot of times you'll see when I spoon it in and we'll do the different layers, different things like that. But one of the things I found fascinating in preparing for this for everybody today, and before I'm going to leave you hanging for just a second, please, if you have any questions, comments, put them in the chat or comments. Betsy, I know I'm never going to be a barista. I didn't probably froth that right. That's okay. You can give a class sometime in the future if you so desire. But put that in there. Any questions, comments, anything like that. But one of the things I found fascinating was that Earl's blend was once considered a status tea. So it was a tea blend that only the upper class typically enjoyed. This is because, remember, bergamot is less than 1% of all the citrus crops across the world, and therefore it's very expensive. And it had to be imported from Italy into Great Britain. Now, it's one of the most popular teas in the entire world. So it's, they figured out the supply chain issues on that, but you can still have that luxurious heritage and you kind of get to enjoy it, especially as a latte. But something else, I have a list here that I need to read. I can't remember everything all the time, especially at the end of the day, and it's been a week. Bergamot, and therefore bergamot oil, can help with relaxation and even digestion. So think about that. Don't necessarily throw out this blend and be like, that's for a different time. But this is still actually a very popular blend. We have people that come. There was one person yesterday when we were at the event. She's like, I only drink Earl's blends. That's it. Or Earl Grey. I only drink Earl Grey. Okay, great. We have one. And she's like, okay, great. But we've heard that a lot. There are some people that's the only kind of tea that they drink. So, did they put their pinky out with Earl's blend being a status tea? No. Remember, we've talked about that is a false. It is not a status thing. It is not a status thing at all. You do not put your pinkies out. That is not proper tea etiquette at all. So, what did you think? comments, questions about our London Fog Latte or the Earl's blend. I mean, I make lattes every once in a while, but it's just fun to see the different combinations you can come up with at home, you can enjoy, and how quick. And then a lot of my conversations with my friends recently have surrounded what is and is not in our foods, and the foods that they're finding out really are healthy for you and not. I love when we can make our own, because then I know everything that went in it. I know my milk came from just down the street and the cows at the dairy farm. I know where my tea came from. I know where all the vanilla extract came from. There's the pretty jar. I couldn't do it underneath very much, but there's your pretty jar. Like, I know where my vanilla extract came from. I know where my honey came from. And it's one of those things that really matters, because then I know what the ingredients are, and that's something that's important to me. So all right. Well, I don't see anybody putting questions in. So hopefully you'll have more questions for me next week. We will be traveling, so expect to see us a little bit on the tired side. We've got a bigger event, and we may even have a tiny guest with us at that point in time. So welcome to the world of distractions next week. But we'll be doing questions and answers. So any questions that you have over the week, feel free to put them in the chat or comments here. Shoot out an email or message me on the Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, wherever. And I think those are the only ones we're really keeping active for social media right now. But next week is our big question and answer. I know I have a couple that we didn't get to from last time that I will start off with, but then let me know if you have any other questions. And that is all I have for tonight, because I don't see any questions coming up. Trying to look. I have a lot going on right now, but all right, everybody. Well, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it, and we will see you next Sunday, 6 p.m. Central. Have a great week, everybody.